major one that we'll lead into with Larry because it's Larry's predominant one. They all differ. If you're going to inquire something and you really want an intensive inquiry, and as you'll see from the presentation, the differences, use 3 of them at least and get different answers. Okay, I'm going to stop this part and go to another share back here of my keynote. And there we go. I'm going to share this. To the keynote.
Roy, if I could interrupt for just a minute, folks, we've started a YouTube live stream of the meeting that will contain Roy's present and also Larry's when he does it, and we'll send a link to that in the follow-up that we do after the meeting. Take it away, Roy.
Okay, I hope everybody's seeing the introductory screen. Are you seeing an introduction to AI assistance?
We sure are.
Okay, now I'm going to try to go to the next screen. I noticed there are problems that occur. So this is the question that was asked. What do you know about the Washington apple pie? That's the simple question I asked 3 AI assistants. Okay, this should be the second screen, right? Does everybody see the second screen?
Gemini, yes.
This is Gemini, yes. So we're not going to go through reading this because I'll post this in the groups IO and you can read it after the fact. But the key thing to notice is there is a difference in formatting. So this is the way Gemini has formatted that question. And then we'll go on to ChatGPT. This is the way ChatGPT has answered that question of what do you know about the Washington apple pie. And there is more. It does scroll down. I'll kind of go back to the browser. I'll share the browser to kind of show you that. And this is what Claude, as it presented the information. So I'll be posting this brief introduction, and the links do work. And then here's Perplexity, which was another one I added just to see what it was. Perplexity is a very popular one also. But I'll add this in the keynote that I'll post for you, and it has the same links that are also posted. So that's the end of that. And I'll stop the share. I'll try to stop the share. There we go. And then I'll go one more share to the browser here. If I can find it. Safari, here we go. Okay. This is basically the formatting. People have asked how they get the information. And that's another thing you can ask the AI is how can I print it? How can I copy it in various ways? And what I did with the other one was cut and paste. So you'll see from this in the Gemini version that cutting and pasting kind of reformats it. So this is what the Gemini actually looks like. It was a very nicely formatted presentation of the same question. ChatGPT also did a very nice, formatting of the question. And I have a problem here because I've got my toolbar from, there we go. Here's Claude, how Claude formatted the answer to the question. And you can see they're quite comprehensive. So it's very interesting. It will also give you other suggestions. Okay, yeah, I'll click on that. Stop my share. So as you can see, it formats things differently and different stylistically. One thing I noticed, and I'm going to I'm not going to show the presentation for it, but AI is very useful for recipes and things like that. And the other night, when we had our streak of warm weather, it was a night to have cocktails with some friends of my wife's cousins, and I wanted to make a tiki drink. And I realized I didn't have any lemons or limes, which is a key ingredient to tiki drinks. So I said, well, I'll do what I normally do, ask the 3 AIs or more to suggest drinks that don't use lemons and limes. And when I did it, the interesting thing and the reason to use several, especially on recipes, is two of them gave me, they mostly both gave, they all gave about the same drink, the painkiller and the jungle bird, which is, um, but some of them gave me the recipes, the ingredients, step by step of how to make the drink. Some of them just mentioned the drink, which meant I had to look up the information. Now, of course, the AIs, you can go one more step with the AIs. They're very conversant with you. And they'll say, do you want more information? Or you can ask them, give me the recipe. But I was very happy with the two, Claude and Gemini, that gave me the discrete instructions right away. So that's a reason that sometimes it's useful to use several or get several feedbacks because you might get more. Okay, that's the end of my introduction to AIs. And Jonathan has his hand up, so we'll go over to Jonathan.
Thanks, Roy. Thanks so much for doing that. You know, in the quick thing you did of what do you know about Washington apple pie, one of the things that struck me was how similar the content was for all the engines. So I would be surprised if the all of them didn't actually take the information from our new Pi website. But one thing I'd suggest as a test, Roy, is for each of them, go back to the chats and ask them what the source was.
Right.
And then let me know about that, because then I can include that in the recap of.
Yeah, it's always good to ask for its sources sometimes. And again, we won't mention much about hallucinations because I didn't analyze what it actually did feedback, but it may be totally false information. So we don't know. I did do an analysis of its feedback. I just wanted to show the different formatting and that you could ask a question like that. And as was suggested before, you can ask that same information from each of the browsers. What do you know about me?
Yeah, you have to wonder if
Bruce.
you see ingredients listed like, strychnine or arsenic
Exactly.
you have to wonder about the accuracy.
And if they make sense. I asked it how to make paprika. I had some paprika and chicken, and I wanted to make something chicken paprika, and the recipe was great. Worked out perfect. Alan, you have your hand up.
Rather than go to one of the one of the three more common ones, I simply ask Siri a question. I ask Siri the question: if a team is leading their division in baseball on June 1st, what's the chance that they will win the division title? And it came back with like a 65% chance that the team ahead on June 1st would win the division. So I don't know which one they use, but they gave me that answer. Do you think I would have gotten a different answer if I had gone to each one of them separately rather than let Siri give me the answer?
You should have tried. I would say yes, but you should have tried. That's the answer. Let the AI answer your own question. So, Jonathan, you have your hand up?
Yeah, actually, I had another idea, Roy, about those. What do you know about the Washington apple pie? Because the next level is how can we elevate the chatbot's knowledge of our group?
Yeah.
Because missing from all of that is anything about the Pi scholarship, for example.
Mhm.
Now, when I asked Claude about the Pi, I asked about the scholarship. And when you ask the bots about that, some of them will actually go find our blog showing the graphic of the scholarship and get it from there. But I'll actually maybe work with Van to see if we can somehow elevate the Pi scholarship somewhere frontally on the website so that the answers include that too.
Yep. I think it's like browsers in the old days. You've got to give it You got to get the information out there for it to find it. So, and Jonathan, you can take over the meeting and turn it over to Larry when you want. Unless there's more questions about what I showed, but I think Larry's got a lot of lead in. Oh, there goes Larry. Oh, he's disappeared on us. He's getting ready. But it is fun playing with the artificial intelligence agents or assistants.
Yeah, and following up what Roy was saying, it's really easy if to have one of these AI agents on your phone and to call it up to find out information, to get an answer to a question. And I started experimenting using Claude for that go-to instead of ChatGPT. And at some point, at maybe a clubhouse, I'll talk about how that's gone for me.
And I've been very surprised at, you can ask an AI amazingly, seemingly impossible questions that you could not really use a browser to find the answer to. I saw a performance on TV and I wanted to know who was playing the guitar on that performance. And so I asked AI, who's playing the guitar on this and such a performance? And lo and behold, it came up with the correct answer. I don't know where it got its information, but it had it as its source.
Good morning, Larry.
Yes.
Let me actually just introduce all of you. I hope no. Larry Kirschberg has long been a board member of Washington Apple Pie. And when he was a professor at George Mason, for a long time before the pandemic, Larry got us room space for the general meetings that we had at Mason for all those years. And then his then spouse prodded him for the Pi to do a scholarship, and that you all know how that turned out. In fact, I wanted to add something here because I see that Cliff Bailey is also in our meeting, and I wanted to be sure that everyone knew that Cliff, who himself has a tie to George Mason, endowed his own scholarship in the department about statistics that is his field. And I just think it's so cool that Cliff was so heartened by our effort that he launched his own. So many thanks to you, Cliff, for doing that.
Thank you. I have been attending seminars ever since I retired in 1997 at Mason, and so it's the least I could do.
Well, all I can say is this is a way in which we, and now you also, really do pay it forward. And there isn't anything better than these young people that we're able to help pretty modestly, but to them it's far from modest. And I hope we will continue with that. Anyway, so the Pi Scholarship that Larry initiated, brought to the board endorsed it, started in 2016, and 2017 was the first scholarship awardee. In 2023, we celebrated the 10th student that the scholarship was able to help. And so this has been a wonderful program of the Pi that Larry championed. But roll the tape forward, and it's so much fun in our clubhouse Saturdays that when Larry joins the meeting, often he's in a local coffee house in his New York State town. Um, anyway, Larry, would you like to start your presentation?
No, I have not prepared it. So I'm going to do it off the cuff. No, I actually have more slides than you can handle. But I did want to say that um, I like the fact that people are beginning to experiment with AI in more meaningful ways than just replacing Google search. And I think that's what I wanted to stress today because I found, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I found that in attending the AI SIG and also the Clubhouse Saturday, that people were kind of intimidated by AI. They have mixed feelings about it. They kind of have misconceptions about it. Um, so I thought that today I would try to show where we're going with this AI. It's here to stay. And I think it's important for all of us to understand its potential and understand some of the problems that we may face. Uh, you especially, boy, am I bald? Wow. But you especially may have very strong feelings about AI. In fact, when Eric Schmidt, who led Google for 10 years, gave a commencement speech recently, he was booed because he mentioned AI. And I think there's a lot of pushback from the public now about AI and how quickly it's going and what effects it may have on the workforce, on society, realizing that AI is probably smarter than you and it uses fewer neurons to do it. So I think it's important for us to understand what the capabilities are, what the pitfalls are, and move forward and use it effectively in whatever we're doing. So I'm hoping that this presentation will provide you with the uh, the insights you need to move forward with AI. And I'm willing to entertain questions at the end of my talk. I would rather that you don't ask too many questions during my talk so that I would have time um, to give what I think is an excellent presentation. Of course, I would say that anyway because it's me. So, and if you're ready, if can you share the screen with me, Jonathan? And then I'll bring up my presentation.
Um,
Let me try to share now.
yeah, that's good, Larry.
So you can see everything, right?
Yes.
So can you see this?
Yeah, we
AI
sure can.
chatbots?
Yep.
Okay. So AI chatbots are getting smarter. So learn to use them. And I saw that Roy is quite advanced in his use, but I may show you some things that you aren't even aware of. All right. So this is full screen. So who are the major players? And by the way, I had the Claude generate this Washington apple pie logo just based on examining both websites, wep.org and the other website, thepi.org. and it came up with this logo. So who are the major players? Well, you have Google with its Gemini, the Nana Banana, which allows you to make drawings, and Notebook LM, which I will demo later on. OpenAI has ChatGPT, DALL-E for image generation, and Codex for coding. Anthropic has Claude, Claude Cowork, and Claude Code, which you can access from its desktop app, and I'll show that. Meta Platforms has open source and closed source models. They were open source for a long time, and recently they wanted to create the AGI, which is the general intelligence, and so they moved to closed source. And then you have NVIDIA, who is a provider of the GPUs that all of them use in their data centers. So all of them are renting time, and NVIDIA's going gangbusters. It's got, they say, $1 trillion in backlog, so that's a lot of money. And then there's Apple, and we're waiting to hear from Apple. I know that Aaron is in the room, but I don't think he's going to be able to tell us much. But we have Apple Intelligence, which has begun to show some life, and we're waiting for Siri on steroids. We're waiting to see how Apple will integrate OpenAI or Google into its Siri. And this would be very interesting because I feel that although we can access our various AIs through the web or through desktop apps, once you have it on your phone, and as Alan said, once you ask Siri these questions and it goes out and talks to an AI, that's when you're going to see the adoption of AI across the spectrum. All right. So that's my feeling on that. We'll wait to see what Apple has to say at WWDC. I hope they will announce the new Siri. I think they will.
Larry, you're muted.
You have to unmute, Lori.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I guess I touched something. I'm trying to get this bar out of the way. All right, maybe now.
Larry,
Yeah.
just wanted to be sure you knew we're live on YouTube now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So what you're seeing here, and you're wondering, why is Amazon a player? Well, we all know Amazon when we order our goods from Amazon, right? But Amazon has another branch called Amazon Web Services, and they compete with Microsoft and other players, Google, to offer services on the cloud. And they can virtualize machines for you. Like if you need a supercomputer for 20 minutes, you can ask Amazon to spin one up, so to speak, according to your specifications. You use it for the 20 minutes that you need it, and then you bring it, you close it down. And what it does, it rents time for you and services for you on their cloud. And so they are a big player. And even though they haven't been as vocal as some of the others, let's say, they do run both Claude and OpenAI as part of their offerings on Amazon Web Services. So I got this from the Data Center Richness Substack. So if you want to subscribe, you can see what they're writing about. I thought it was interesting that we're seeing a tremendous amount of spending by all of these companies on infrastructure. So let's get a brief history of AI. In 1956, there was a Dartmouth conference, and they coined the term artificial intelligence. John McCarthy from Stanford was the one who coined the term. And in the 1960s, there was early optimism, the ELIZA chatbots, first neural network ideas, symbolic reasoning programs. But then in the 70s, we get into what we call an AI winter, where there's no funding for AI. And then in the 1980s, we have the expert systems boom, where businesses use rule-based AI to create systems. In fact, at the time when I was at the University of South Carolina, we actually worked with Blue Cross Blue Shield to develop an expert system. We called it MedClaim for medical claims review. So I really understood and was a part of that 1980s AI. But now we turn to 2012, and we have a deep learning breakthrough where AlexNet from the AlexNet wins the ImageNet competition. And AlexNet was done at the University of Toronto under a person known as the godfather of AI, Jeff Hinton. And we'll get to him a little bit later. So in 2017, 8 engineers from Google introduced the transformer architecture. And they wrote a paper called Attention is All You Need. And they showed that you could parallelize the algorithms that were used to train these large language models. And so that's the foundation of what we consider now the large language models. If you follow this link, you have it. Attention is all you need. These are the 8 engineers that appeared in 2017. And if you would like, I can make these slides available to Jonathan, and then he can post them along with the demo.
Thanks, Larry. Yeah, we have a folder in the groups.io for presentations, and it would be wonderful to be able to put it there.
Okay, sounds good. And in 2022, that's when everyone went crazy because ChatGPT launched, bringing generative AI to the mainstream. Before that, we didn't have it, and it changed the way we did web searches, etc. But now, as we go into 2025, 26, we're dealing with another paradigm called agentic AI. And these are software agents that can model and plan, use tools, and complete multiple steps autonomously. So you hear about these agents being used in coding that nowadays nobody really codes. I mean, in Python or any other language, they just are more or less architects, and they tell the system, this is the beauty of these LLMs, you tell the system what you want, and it does it for you. Now that is a whole paradigm shift, and I want to talk about that more as we progress in the talk. So you probably have more than one favorite. I have focused more on Claude and Gemini. I don't trust Sam Altman, so I've canceled my ChatGPT. But it's all up to you. And Perplexity I look at as a computer that allows you to choose among multiple search engines. So get to know your chatbot. Learn what it knows about you. All right? Ask it. I think Roy showed what various chatbots know about the pie. But you could say, tell me what you know about the Washington apple pie, but include whatever you know about the pie scholarship. And so that's my last point here. You prompt it, you speak to it and tell it what you want. And the more precise the prompts, the better the information it will provide. So you can go in and say, I want you to write something in my voice. And you say, well, what's my voice? You say, well, analyze the last, let's say, 30 Gmails that I sent. And from there, you have my voice. So you can do that. Okay. So don't be afraid of these chatbots. Just put them to use. And the prompts are the very important aspect of it. All right. So who are the major theoreticians in AI? And here is Jeff Hinton, father of AI. He won not only the Turing Award, which is like the Nobel Prize in computer science, but he also won the Nobel Prize in physics, which is interesting. All right. Ilya Sutskever. So these other players here are all students of Jeff Hinton. You have Andrei Karpathy. He's the co-founder of OpenAI. He was the head of Tesla self-driving. Jan LeCun, who was head of Meta's AI for 10 years, this fellow here. Uh, and Joshua Benglio, also a Turing Award. These two shared the Turing Award with Jeff Hinton. And then you have Ilya Sutskever, who is credited with being the creator of ChatGPT. So these are very smart people who are pushing the limits of what we are doing in AI right now. Now, LeCun left Meta just recently because Meta invested in another company and they went closed source. So he went off and he founded his own company. And they all, Ilya Sutskever left OpenAI and has a security company now. These are all very smart people. Andres Karpathy we'll see a little later again because he's in our demo. All right. So who are the major moguls in AI? Well, we have Sam Altman here, CEO of OpenAI and makers of ChatGPT. We have Dario Amodei, who is the CEO of Anthropic, the makers of Claude. We have Demis Hassabis, who is the CEO of Google DeepMind in England, but he's also head of all of Google's AI effort. And he's a knight. And if you haven't seen DeepMind's AlphaGo and the protein folding problem, which they solved, you should actually see them, look them up on YouTube. You have Elon Musk here, CEO of Tesla, XAI, SpaceX, and he's the maker of Grok. It's another AI tool. And SpaceX is going to go public, and it'll be the largest IPO in history. So it's, I think, sometime in June. And then you have Jason Wang. He's going to the bank and he's enjoying himself. He's the CEO of NVIDIA, maker of GPUs in all of the data centers that these various companies use. All right. So let's do a demo. Now, I wanted to do a demo from scratch, but I felt it would use too many tokens and I would run out of tokens. And because Claude doesn't allow me to use too many tokens. So what I did is I'll walk you through parts of the demo. So the initial dialogue I had for Claude was, could you draft a slide deck showing each of the major chatbots, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, including the strengths and weaknesses and why they hallucinate? There was a question at the Clubhouse Saturday about hallucinations, so I thought I'd answer the question. So Claude comes back and says, well, how long should the deck be? And so I say 8 to 10 slides. What visual style do you want? I say Apple-inspired minimal. It gives you the various choices. Should I include a placeholder image, spots, or generate visuals? And so I said, use simple icons and shapes. And then Claude generates a slide deck. So I want to show you what Claude did for me. It's pretty simple, but so the big 4i chatbots, a field guide to Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity for the Washington Apple Pie, May 26th. So we have 4 chatbots. It didn't put in any special graphics, but Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. And so it says that Claude, the strengths excels at long form writing and nuanced reasoning. Huge context window handles entire books or code bases. It has artifacts, which are live editable code and documents. I'll show you some artifacts. Agentic tools can browse, run code, control apps. Weaknesses, no native image generation. Smaller plugin app ecosystem than ChatGPT. Real-time search is newer, less mature. So that's Claude. Here's ChatGPT, voice mode and DALL-E image generation built in, custom GPTs, and a public GPT store, code interpreter, browsing and file analysis, memory across chats, tight Microsoft Copilot integration. Recently, ChatGPT, the OpenAI, negotiated with Microsoft because they were only allowed to work with Microsoft. And now they can work with more companies. The weaknesses, quality varies across many available models. Confident tone can mask factual errors. Privacy concerns around training on user data. So this was all generated by Claude for me. Gemini, the Google native, massive context, deep workspace ties, real-time search. Connects to Gmail, Docs, Drive, Calendar, YouTube, because they own all of those, right? Up to 1 million token context window in the Pro tier. Native multimodal, text, image, audio, video, real-time grounding via Google search. Weaknesses, quality can feel uneven or uncreative writing. Best features locked behind Google ecosystem. Has had public missteps with image generation. But I think now Gemini is considered the leader of the chatbots. And Perplexity is different, I think. It's the answer engine, search first, citation driven, built for research. So if you want to do research, this is Perplexity's way to go. Every answer includes inline web citations, real-time search by default, focus modes, academic, Reddit, YouTube, etc. You can choose the underlying model you want to use as your chatbot. It's weaker at creative writing and long-form reasoning. Quality depends on what's on the web that day. Less capable as a general purpose assistant. Then here is why they hallucinate. All right. So they aren't lying. They're just guessing on the next plausible word. These LLMs, they sound like they know you and they're very smart, but basically what they do is they say, what is the next plausible word that I should put up on the screen in answering this question? And the plausible words change over time because as they go on, their state changes. So they're pattern matchers, not truth tellers. LLMs predict what text usually follows. They have no built-in notion of what's true or false. They're trained on imperfect data. The web is full of errors, contradictions, and gaps. Models absorb it all. They're rewarded for sounding confident. They just know it all, right? So training nudges them to give a fluent answer rather than admit uncertainty. And they're also filling in knowledge gaps. When facts run out, the models interpolates, fake papers, invented quotes, wrong dates. You've all read about people who go, lawyers who go before the judge and they've written a brief, and the brief references cases that don't exist. I asked Claude, I said, what day is Father's Day? And he gave me a date. So I said, but Claude, that date is on a Tuesday. Ah, he says, my bad. It's really on the third Sunday of the month of June. And it gave me the right date, or the second Sunday. I'm not sure which. So you have to be careful with these of them. So how to spot them? A few habits that turn the chatbot from oracle to assistant. Ask for sources. Make the model cite. If it can't, treat the claim as a guess. Verify the specifics. Name, dates, quotes. Anything load-bearing, double check. Provide your own data. Paste the document or link the source. Use a search-grounded tool. Perplexity, Gemini, or Claude with web search beats a model just that uses memory. So it gets the latest information available. Ask the model to push back. What might be wrong? Surfaces uncertainty the model otherwise hides. So here you have a summary. I'm not going to go through it. You already have heard it. And here's the best part. Use them all. Trust none of them blindly. All right. So I think that's a good thing. And this came from my interaction with Claude on this to create a slide deck. So the next demo, there's a hand up. Gabe, did you have a comment?
Well, I thought you were taking general questions, so I'll wait till you're entirely finished, not partly finished.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. And then we can go into the question mode. So Claude makes a wiki using vibe coding. So this vibe coding is a concept due to Kaparthi. And we talked about Andre in an earlier slide. So you tell it what to do in English, not how to do it. The AI will figure out, whatever chatbot you're using should be able to figure out just from the context of your English language specification how to create it. All right. And then we're going to look at Gemini and Notebook LM. And finally, what's my relationship with Claude? I know you're dying to know how I use Claude. So I'll give you that at the end. So here's Andre. He's 39. Can you imagine that, being that young? He's 39 years young. Here's a picture of him. He graduated from University of Toronto for his BS, then British Columbia for his MS, and then he went to Stanford for his PhD. He was head of Tesla, AI at Tesla, and he was involved with the full self-driving. He left the company after 5 years. I think he was exhausted by then. He needed some time off. He's a co-founder of OpenAI. He introduced the notion of vibe coding, telling your AI what to do as text and letting it figure out how to do it. And he recently rejoined Anthropic after having left the company. So he was there before. So he's now at Anthropic. So here, I just wanted to show you his text. All right. Let me make this bigger. So something I'm finding very useful recently, using LLMs to build personal knowledge bases for various topics of research interest. So data ingest, I index source documents, articles, papers, repos, data sets, images into a raw directory. Then I use an LLM to incrementally compile the wiki, which is just a collection of markdown files. All right. In a directory structure. The wiki includes summaries of all the data, backlinks, and categories, and he uses Obsidian as the front end. And I'll show you how Obsidian, it's free. You can download it and try it out, where I can view the raw data the compiled wiki and the derived visualizations. Important to note, LLM writes and maintains all the data of the wiki. I rarely touch it directly. I played with a few Obsidian plugins to render and view data. In other words, like Mark for slides. And I downloaded that. I don't really use it. But this is what he wrote. All right. So I copied this and pasted it into Claude. So I might as well bring up Claude so you see what's going on here. So there are three stages. Just a chat, co-work, and Claude Code. And I haven't really done very much with Claude Code because I'm not a coder, but I could aim Claude at the Pi website and gather up all the information on the Pi website. I could say, how can I improve it? Are there any security flaws that I need to address in the Pi website? And it can do all of that. All right. I just don't use it very much. But here I am in the Pi demo. And I asked it a number of questions, but let me go to the wiki. Okay, so I will, here's Obsidian, and here is the wiki that it created for me just based on the specification. So I can make this bigger. So it decided what to bring in based on the demo. So far I have in here the Altair computer, Homebrew Computer Club, Apple Pi Origins, or Apple One and Apple II Origins, Xerox PARC, Macintosh. So these are text files. And then I can say, well, show me how these concepts interrelate. And so here's Steve Wozniak. And so I have the title, Steve Wozniak. He's a person, the tags, Apple X, an engineer. The sources, and it was updated 5/10/2026. I could add my own property if I wanted to, but this is basically what it knows about Steve Wozniak. So I have concepts here in the wiki, machines, people. So here's Steve Jobs. So co-founded Apple Computer with Steve Wozniak in 1976 during the microcomputer revolution. He was less an engineer and more of a commercial and aesthetic force, the person who pushed Apple's engineering toward consumer products and deliberate industrial design. So here's everything about him. So I thought I would add a couple of websites into to show you how it works, and then have Claude process the new information. So what I was thinking of doing was, Wiki was created for me. Populate the wiki using Apple-related websites. That's already been done. Visualize the wiki in Obsidian's graph view. So I was thinking of adding references like Pogue's new book or WAP.org websites as part of the live demo. So are you interested in anything, or do you have another site that you might want me to bring in?
Actually, it would be cool, Larry, if Claude could go to the old Pi journals on the WAP.org website. And remember, we talked about this of creating a back in the day, 25 years ago today, a piece for our new website blog.
Okay, well, how do I get there? I'm going to use Google Chrome. So is there a special place for it?
Well, if you
The
just go
web.
to wap.org,
Okay.
and touch the Apple Pie Journal,
Okay.
and now go to the journals from 79 to 2009 full.
All right. So you
And
want me to see what
that's
it
where
does?
that's where they all are.
All right. So what I'm going to do is use an Obsidian plugin that you can download here, and it will clip to, let's put it in the raw file. So this is Electric Pi Journal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm going to add that to Obsidian. So here it is, but it hasn't been processed. I don't do any work. I say, Claude, process this for me. So let's see what
Mm-hmm.
it's going to do. You see, here it is. It's in the raw folder. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to go to Claude and say, process. Oh, by the way, you don't have to type anymore. You can speak. And so I use something called Whisper Flow, which is very good. So I'm just going to whisper it into this. Process the new file that I put into the raw folder in the Pi demo. So this is in real time. You're watching it as it happens. And what's nice is that on the right-hand side, it will write the tasks that it has to go through. So here you have it. So you have, it's reading raw file and wiki index, survey existing wiki structure, compile new article and update existing. And so if we look at here it is. It hasn't really been linked to anything so far. So we'll see what happens to it. All right. So let's go. Hmm,
Larry, may I?
sure.
Yeah, the thing I'm really interested in is that these journals on a page, if you click it, you have to click it again to get the PDF to mount. And what I'm trying to figure out is whether the AI is smart enough to be able to do that.
I don't know. We'll find out. This is new to me as well.
But a good thing is that Lawrence is in the meeting today, and he might be able to shed light on why that's working or not working.
Okay. Hi, Lawrence. How you doing? So it's still working here. You see it's editing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's updating the wiki index. So when it's done, we'll have a look and see how it organized it.
I had to turn on my microphone. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. The reason why
Good.
there's a two-step process to the journals is they're PDFs, and I needed the metadata. So I had to create a page that had metadata that links to the PDFs. And so that's why it's that two-step process, because otherwise search engines, it's invisible to search engines.
Okay. So here is the summary that Claude gave me. And summary of changes. Created new articles under Wiki Concepts, the Washington Apple Pie, which is a DC user group founded in February 1979 around the Apple II. Includes the archive project's contributors, Walter Taylor, Lawrence Charters, etc. The Clubhouse Saturday crew, and then the Washington Apple Pie Journal. So these are concepts that have been created within Claude. And this one is the publication itself, documents the monthly, bi-monthly cadence shift in 1995, the regular post 2012 schedule, and showcase archive of web.org and the volume numbering errata preserved in the archive. So it's pretty clever. It's pretty clever. It added backlinks to the new Pi articles from Apple II, Macintosh Homebrew. That's interesting. The latter now notes the parallel between the West Coast hobbyist clubs and the East Coast single platform user groups. Updated the wiki to list both new articles under concepts and bumped the status footer to 15 articles and 9 raw sources. I could have it ingest the actual journal articles, but that would take forever. And if you want to know how much that costs, if you go to settings, you can see the usage. So I've used 20% of my limits so far. But if I did more, it would really run up the usage. And what it has now, let's go back to Obsidian and see what it did. So it has them all here. Now, if you want, we could take any one of them and do the PDF and bring it in if you wanted to do that, just to show that it can ingest the PDF.
Why don't you just try that? Why don't you just try that one, Larry?
All right, let's see. Let me save that. Let me download it.
Sorry, is that the PDF or a graphic?
No, it's got PDF here. If you look, see it has all these pages. So I'm just going to put it in my downloads file. All right. So what I'll do now is I'll put it here. It's a PDF. And so I'll say process the PDF file. I just put it into the folder. Now, if it has concepts that are related to the other concepts that are already in the folder, then in the wiki, it will link them up. So it's doing a lot of, see what it's doing here? Extracting the text. And it's doing all of this automatically, based just on the vibe coding to set up the wiki.
It's way cool if it can do this, Larry.
Oh yeah, not only that, but you have a wiki on groups.io. You might try using Claude to update that wiki and make it even spiffier.
I think we'll try that.
Yeah. the whole idea I want to get in this demonstration is that the AI works for you. Don't be afraid of it. Use it the way you want to use it because it's smart. It's really, really smart, if you know what I mean. It's smarter than any of us. But what's interesting is to use it in ways that will benefit you and make you more productive. That's the whole idea. That's the gist of my talk. Don't be
So,
afraid of it. Just use it.
so Larry,
Yeah.
I put in the chat that Claude nicely generated a Pi scholarship page that we can add to the Pi website. Dan isn't in the
Wonderful.
meeting today, and hopefully he'll be happy if I send this to him.
Cool. Cool. So let me enrich the web article and journal article into concrete 1983 facts and add a backlink from Apple II. So that'll be interesting. Now it's going to link up. So let's look at you can see it's changing things on the fly. Let me see if I can find the PDF. Here's the Washington Apple Pie Journal, and there's the wiki for it. So this is what it created. I didn't create any of this. All right. How long do I have to speak?
You can stop speaking at any point, Larry.
Oh, no, I wanted to know the end, when the drop dead time.
Oh, another hour and a half.
Right. So look here, you see the Washington Apple Pie Journal now is connected to the index, ProDOS, Microcomputer Revolution.
Can you blow this up so we can see it a little bigger?
Sure, that's not a problem.
Is there an Apple II node in this that I can't see?
Oh yeah. Now let me and then you can search for any of these concepts you want. So it's a very nice user interface. But now let me just bring it up again. Apple One. Here's Apple II. So this is what it knows about Apple II. It was designed by Steve Wozniak, released by Apple Computer in June 1977 at the West Coast Computer Fair. It is the machine that turned Apple from a hobbyist board maker into a platform company. So it gives the processor, the RAM, all that information. All right.
So Larry, when it shows this information, does it let you know where it got it in the wiki?
Yeah, it's in the raw file. Here it is, the source.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Apple One and Apple II origins.md. So this is itself another you could look at for it here. Let's see, it's 03 right there. And what happens is the beauty of it is that you're allowing Claude to maintain your wiki. And as it gets more information coming in, it will actually go back and edit these files, like the Apple One. If it knows something interesting about Apple One, it will include it. And so I think it's fabulous. And we did it on the fly. I used your website. You could go through, and if you wanted to click on every single journal article and download it, you could have it organize the information into a wiki, which would be a rather interesting project.
Thanks, Larry.
Right, Jonathan?
I think Diana has her hand up.
Oh yeah, okay, Diana. Maybe she's not available right now. So I won't include David Pogue's website, although I could. Oh yeah, I might as well. So where am I? So he has a website here. So let's include it.
Larry,
Yeah.
can you hear me? I was just wondering if Claude could make the lines on his diagram a little darker and easier to see. That's
I
all.
think you could. I think you could.
Because I'm having
So
trouble seeing the connections among all
right,
those.
right. So I've included David Pogue here. This is his book. And I don't know if you've seen this, but he has a very good sing-along, clap-along, Pogue's parody on Apple's 50th year. So if you haven't seen it, it's worth playing.
Go play it.
You want me to play it?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
I don't hear it.
Can't hear it?
I don't hear it anyway.
Yeah.
I think you have to, in the initial share, click the Zoom things for sound and optimize.
I encourage you to play it on your own because I have my headphones in and I don't have my sound system set up to play. So it's available. Now let's ingest this thing. So it shows what it updated here. What's new? Concepts, and it updated the Washington apple pie. So it actually goes in, and as it learns more about the pie, it will update those sites. All right. So let's bring in
Roger had a question in the chat, Larry, for when you come to a good place.
yeah, you notice that it even forgives my typos. So I said ingets instead of ingest, and it has no problem. So it's having trouble fetching. So it's going to try another technique. Let's see. So it says it's not getting in.
It may
So
have a
once
robots text file that prohibits AI agents.
right. So I'm gonna paste in the URL. I think I can do that. And see if that'll help it. You see, I didn't try this before, so this is new to me too. First time I've tried to ingest this page. And it'll be interesting to see how it classifies it. So this is the website. And yeah, it's hard to see the things.
Can you recap what you're doing? I don't understand where we are.
Well, I'm just ingesting PDFs, ingesting web pages, and Claude is automatically maintaining this wiki for me based on the initial text that I gave it on how to proceed, how to create the wiki. And so I'm looking now. Here's the homebrew.
Did it ingest the Pogue book website, Larry?
Yeah, here it is. The applefirst50.com landing. So it gave me the source. It was fetched 23rd of May. It's a landing page for David Pogue's book. So it created this by itself. All right. Marketing summary. Publication date about the book. Two scrubby 20-somethings named Steve founded a startup. Here are the 10 surprises and the teaser. Apple didn't start in a garage. Apple was Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs' fourth business venture. Did you know that? Maybe you did because you read the book. John Scully did not fire Steve Jobs. The tablet came before the phone. Okay, and these are quotes, and here is Pogue's bio, and here's his book tour.
And can I interrupt, Larry? Do you know that David Pogue credited us, ThePi, because when he gave us his talk that we had to quarantine and not publicize the YouTube, the material that he put together for that is what he used for all these other appearances. So he was very nice about that.
It's very nice.
We have a couple of other questions for when you are ready, Larry.
Okay, yeah. I'll take your questions. Mr. Ferrers?
Let's go to Ferrers first, and then Ken Nellis. Go ahead, Ferrers.
I was just going to ask
from across
Larry,
the pond.
I was just going to ask Larry if he could go back to the graph view.
Right.
In the top right panel, there you've got the display there. If you click on the display chevron in that little panel at the top right.
Right. Filters, groups,
Yeah, displays. At the bottom there, you've got a slider for line thickness. That might solve Diana's problem. No, not the arrows. Yeah, that one. Yeah, if we go for, yeah, that's better.
Now you can really see it, right?
Yep.
And you can have the node size too.
Does the node size increase the text size or not?
No, but the bigger the node, the more information you have available about that concept. So like the Apple II, let's say the lint report is not as important as the Apple II. And so you click and there you have it on the page. Thank you very much. So Diana, you must be happier now.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's go to Ken Nellis and then Gabe Goldberg. Go ahead, Ken.
Yes, thanks, Larry, for this. Where does this wiki reside? Is it public or just available to you? Is it on your machine? Is it out in the cloud? Talk about that.
Sure. Uh, it resides in Claude and let's see. For each project that you create, it creates a folder. So this is in the Pi demo. Now, this is a Pi demo folder. Here's the wiki demo. And here are the files.
Okay, so it's on your machine. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, it resides on my machine. And I told iCloud to keep it on my machine, not put it in the cloud.
Okay, but that would be
Now,
iCloud cloud, not a public cloud.
no,
So,
no, it's iCloud.
so can you create such a thing and make it public?
You can. I asked just last night, I asked, how can I share my wiki? And it told me I can save it uh, in a zip file and send it to you. And
But
then
then
you
it's
can,
static.
it's static.
Yeah, so you can't
Yeah,
publicize something that will grow in time as you
right.
add things to it.
I think we may be able to do it. I just haven't figured it out how, but it's certainly a valid question. And I have other, uh, like I have my photography, which is much more complicated, right? And this is something I've been working on. So I have concepts like uh,
Yeah,
Rasai.
you
So
might well want to put that on your web page for your photo web page, Larry.
that's an idea. Or talk about it in a blog. You know, that might be interesting.
Hmm.
So I have various, I have one in AI, and uh, I might be willing to share it or at least take a snapshot of it and let you develop it. You know, there's things here like why do we have all these concepts here circling these that are connected? And how then might I connect it? So I say, okay, here are pictures of the upcoming Leica SL2 reporter. All right. So why not put that in with cameras? Right now it's LR Leica admin. So, you know,
So, do you have a fixed way to connect something that isn't connected yet?
no, I would have to find out what concepts I need in order to connect it to the main cloud.
Oh,
Right
put
now, it's
another.
not
So
right.
put a keyword into it that you knew was somewhere else.
That could be one way to do it. And then you could reprocess it because all the processing is done by Claude. I don't do
Hmm.
anything. Okay. All of the links are created by Claude. So as your LLM, as your, let's say, wiki gets bigger, it's going to take longer for Claude to work. And that's why you run out of tokens because it's doing a lot of processing to update all these files. As a new concept comes in, it looks at where where should it include uh, that concept in other files.
Well,
And
what I haven't yet done, Larry, is pitch to the board that the Pi should have a robust Claude account because we can afford it if we wanted it. But the whole point of trying to use Claude to help with the wiki that's in our groups.io would only make sense if the wizardry was online there.
right, right. So in this case, when it processed David Pogue's page, it created a document for him, but it also updated Steve Jobs. It updated the Macintosh, and it created applefirst50.com landing page. All right. So one thing I didn't do is verify wiki links in front matter. So I could go and say, just copy and paste this. So not everyone wants to create a wiki. I'm doing it because I'm experimenting. Now there's another project that I'm working on called Open Brain. And I haven't finished that one yet, but the idea is to create something like this kind of brain that can be used by more than just Claude. It can be used by any of the chatbots. So that might be interesting if you're using more than one chatbot. They would have a common place to look for information about you.
Meanwhile, Larry, let's go to two more questions. Gabe and then Bruce.
Thanks.
Sure.
A
Gabe.
couple of comments, a question, and then a comment. First, I want to thank Roy and Larry for what is being done with AI. The two presentations today and Roy's starting an AI SIG, I think are just magnificent and the best example I've seen for a while in what user groups can do. The other comment sort of amplifies something that Larry has said, which strikes me that resisting AI is like resisting electricity or the internal combustion engine. It's just there, it's here, it's going to be here, and so as someone once said, resistance is futile. The question that I have goes back to the slide that you showed, Larry, on what's being spent. The problem with what's being spent is it's not matched by what's being earned. And there's a great fire going on where all of these companies are vigorously and cheerfully burning their investor funds. And the question is, how is this going to be sustained without costs of using AI drastically increasing to cover the monumental expenses that are being incurred? And the final comment, and this actually echoes something that Sam said in the chat, which is related to nobody's programming. It's one thing to use AI to develop a program or an app or an agent for personal use. But if you think of any kind of large software effort, you need a design, you need a specification, you need testing, you need documentation, you need debugging, maintenance, support, all of those things. And I think that now and for quite some time, the idea that nobody is programming is simply just not correct.
Let me address some of your comments. They're all very good, and thank you for the accolades you gave both myself and Roy, because we're real AI advocates. AI is here to stay, and so take advantage of it until it kills you. That's the problem. We don't know if AI is going to take over once it realizes it's smart or smarter than humans. So that's a real issue. And I have only recently begun to worry about it because it is so smart. All right. We don't know if they're going to make up the money. There's an AI arms race, so to speak. They want to create these frontier models, and they need a lot of money. They need a lot of compute. But there's good news as well, that Claude, Anthropic, is actually going to make a profit very soon. And that's very unusual that Claude is doing that. So I think Anthropic, and they're going to go public later this year. So definitely look for that IPO. There's a fellow, can't remember his name right now. He's on Shark Tank. He owns the Mavericks. Maybe you can help me with his name. But he said that it's impossible for these companies to make make a profit.
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban, yes. Mark Cuban said that he doesn't think any of them will make a profit. But they'll start advertising inside their, when you have a chat, and while your AI is working, it'll come up with some ad for you, things like that. We'll find ways to make money. But they are spending a lot of money, and it's good for the stock market. It's good for us investors who have money in some of these companies. But I don't know how it's going to end. Did I answer your questions, Gabe?
Yeah, basically you did, except for the programming part. The fact that I was a programmer. I was a professional programmer in the same space that Sam Knutson was, in terms of dealing with huge mega operating systems and critical mission applications for enterprise corporations. And the idea that you will tell AI to generate an insurance company's back end or an airline's scheduling system by describing it. I've written a lot of programs, and what I ended up with was not what I would have verbally described going in, because it takes design. Sometimes it takes collaboration. It's not one person specifying what they want. And so I just don't see how the capabilities of AI now to write small programs scales to the point where there won't be a need for any other programmers.
Right. I've been watching this space of software as a service, and they've been hammered on the stock market by investors who think that AI is going to replace these companies, which is simply not true. Think of Oracle, think of Salesforce, or any of these large companies and large software that requires security. It requires concepts that a simple vibe code would not suffice for. So I think these companies are going to be around, but AI is changing them. So, for example, I read that Salesforce now is focusing on its agents as a way to counter the fact that somebody could come along and create a CRM for them. It's not going to happen. All right.
These well, what I've seen is stories that some companies are forcing their programmers to use AI to write programs, and often the programmers hate it, and they're finding that their productivity is not now 10x what it was before. They're being burdened by having to use a tool that they simply don't like and they find ineffective. So I think that there is now, and there will be, a partnership between human programmers and AI generating programs. I'm just skeptical that it scales to the extent that enthusiasts believe, and apparently some of the investors. Sam put in the chat a skeptic on the economics aspect of AI. And I've forwarded a couple of posts. I forward occasionally posts from David Gerard, a Brit who is entertainingly skeptical about AI, and talks about there being an AI bubble where he doesn't think that the expenses will be sustainable, and so he thinks that there's probably a collapse coming. So it'll be interesting to see where the final endpoint is, or where there won't be a final endpoint. It'll be interesting to see how things progress between the skeptics and the zealots.
Right. Let me give you one data point that really scared me. Oracle laid off 30,000 people to use the money to focus on AI. That is incredible. Just yesterday, I read that Microsoft has canceled Claude accounts for its programmers because they're using too many tokens. It's just costing too much money. So there's a shakeout going on all over the place, and we don't know what's going to happen. But everyone is running scared, to be
Well,
honest.
I'll just make two other comments. The Industrial Revolution also completely revamped employment situations, and so 100 years from now, people may look back at this as the second or third Industrial Revolution. And the last comment I'll make is just sort of a personal one. I've certainly used a couple of the AIs uh, for limited interactions just to see what they could do. And AI has been stunning in terms of being able to answer technical questions. When I've had a question, for example, with my router, AI gave 7 or 8 suggestions on what I might try, and the third or fourth suggestion was pointing me to a very obscure setting in Windows that let me solve the problem in the router. And I have no idea how I would have found that problem without that reference. The other is that I'm awed by what you and some of the others are doing with AI. But from a personal perspective right now, AI is a solution for a problem that I can't find. I'm not sure what I would do with AI more than just ask those occasional questions, to which it has given me pretty accurate and extremely valuable answers, but I don't have an ongoing use case for what I might do with it.
Actually, Gabe, can I say, I think you ought to use an AI bot to update your router talk and see how effective that is for when you next want to give it. But let's move on now to Bruce, who's long had his hand up, and then Sam Knutson. Go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, can you hear me okay, everybody?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so now, Jonathan, I have not one, not two, but four, count them, 4 questions. However, I will only ask one right now in the interest of letting other people get in there. And I hope we have time for the others, because I think all 4 are questions that not just me, but everybody in the group would like to know the answer to. So before I ask the first one, I'm going to echo what was said earlier by, I guess, Gabe, to thank you and Larry and Roy especially for working on helping us with AI and understanding it. With Larry with this talk and Roy with shepherding the AI SIG. So thanks, and you both deserve our full support in doing those things. Okay, so here's my question. It's simple. Privacy. For example, should we be worried about info we're giving to an AI program being misused? And if so, which AI programs would, in your judgment, Larry, would be the best or the worst? That's the question.
Well, it's a hard question to answer, but with Claude, you can say restrict your work only to the files in this specific folder, and it will do that. But you have to realize that you are sending information to Claude's cloud. So I think this is something we need to look at more fully. I don't have the answer for you.
Okay, so it sounds to me like the main thing to know is that yes, there could be privacy issues. So
Right.
proceed with caution, but don't let it stop you from using AI and experimenting with it. Would you agree with that, Larry?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would encourage it.
Thank you. That's my question, John.
How about Sam?
Hey, Larry, really good presentation. Um, and it's we agree on much and we disagree vehemently on some, of course, which is, what makes life
All
interesting.
right.
But I think, and I put this in
Right.
the I put this in the chat, and I know you'll catch up to it at some point. But I think two things that I think are worth throwing out. One is that the characterization of AI as smarter than us. I truly believe that that is fundamentally wrong and dangerous because AI to me is this sort of energetic idiot savant. It's got a lot of capability. It can draw on a vast store of information. It can execute existing processes. It can even use processes to create new processes. But smarter is a much broader definition, and I think that I don't think that AI is inherently smarter than humans, and I think smarter also includes judgment and things that go beyond anything we've ever seen demonstrated by AI. And the fact that the areas where AI companies struggle tend to be guardrails and things that you shouldn't do. Um, that I think is a good piece of evidence that AI is not smarter. If you're sort of looking for, well, what's your proof that it's not smarter? And the person that Gabe was alluding to, and I put the link in the chat, who kind of does the financial skewering with great length of the AI companies, is Ed Zitron. And Ed has really made quite a bit of fun of this lately. He digs into the financial data, what they're putting out, and oftentimes, you see things like statements of direction and letters of intent, and Ed would tell you, well, that's not a contract. So as these companies do become public, and there's IPOs coming up, it will make it more transparent because a public company is obligated to not cherry pick, but to share a lot of financial data as required by law. And so it's gonna be a little easier to make some judgments on some of this. But his basic argument is that the cost of the compute they're consuming, it's kind of an inverse economy of scale, where the more you use it, the more it costs them, and the more money they actually lose. That this is all kind of right now a very circular set of exchanging funds between the AI companies and the chip manufacturers and the middlemen, so OpenAI and Anthropic and Microsoft and Nvidia. And so the question is, well, much like some of the other venture capital backed things that were not positioned in a sustainable way, if you look at the way Uber was very desirable early on, it was because the rates that they were paying drivers and the fees they were charging riders were massively subsidized by venture capital. And so I think a lot of people are rightfully suspicious that there's a lot of financial gaming here, and that while we're advancing these capabilities, there isn't a business model that makes sense here yet. So it'll be interesting to find out. But I think as these companies do try to go public and perhaps successfully go public, they're going to have to open their books, and it's going to be a lot more interesting to find out. But the last one I'll touch on is one that Gabe again alluded to, and I disagree with this one from what I consider to be an expert basis. There's having spent decades working with Fortune 500, Fortune 2000 firms, and still having pretty close ties through LinkedIn and keeping up in the space. I can tell you factually and truly that the majority of programmers worldwide are not directing AI to do their work. There are some that are using it assistively. There are some that are using it sort of directing their little AI army. But there is far many more millions of programmers than you think who are not using AI at all, who are working on what would not be considered modern architectures, but that are actually running the world. Um, every insurance company, bank, airline, shipping company has mainframe systems on the back end, all of the massive credit card companies. And a good public evidence point of that I could point to is when some of the people associated with government transformations with much acclaim said they were going to go in and rewrite the IRS systems, which are largely written in mainframe assembler and run on systems down in West Virginia, that they thought that that would just take weeks or months, and it's not going to happen within the next few years. It's understanding the business logic that is built into deeply complicated interrelated systems in a difficult to understand technology that is not yet even AI is just not even useful for it yet. It may someday be, but it's not there yet, and it's not happening. You'll notice that there's a lot of sound and sort of fury at the beginning, and now nothing, and that's because it nothing came of it.
Right.
Larry, I think Lawrence had his hand up again, and then Diana. Go ahead, Lawrence.
I have a couple comments on a question. The first comment was about the comparison to the microcomputer revolution. Of all the microcomputer companies in the world that existed when Apple was somewhat mature, 78, 79, they're all dead except Apple, every single last one of them. Even IBM's not in the personal computer business anymore. So I think the AI revolution is going to see a whole bunch of people lose a lot of money because not many will survive. The second comment is I share Sam's skepticism about what they can actually do. If you look at what a lot of companies are doing with AI, they want to basically get rid of public-facing people, get rid of the customer salespeople, get rid of the complaint lines, get rid of the helplines, and replace them with AI agents. And you may recall that when voicemail first came into being, people hated the fact that instead of talking to a person, now they talk to this maze of things to prompt them to press 1 or press 3 or press the star key or whatever, and they never got to talk to a person. And I think that will also turn off a lot of people from the alleged benefits of AI. But my question is, Apple's built their reputation in the modern world with security and privacy compared to Linux, compared to Windows. Apple is just extremely paranoid about the outside world and gives you a lot of control to make it even more paranoid. And I think that's one reason why Apple has been slow to get into AI, because how do you preserve the user's privacy and security? So my question is, if Apple really does team up with Google Gemini, which seems to be possible, that we'll find out in a month, how would they go about it? Can they anonymize requests like they do now with Siri, or will it take some other kind of technology? You may not have an answer, but I want to talk about and think about this over the next few weeks.
Right. I don't have the answer specifically. Maybe Aaron Davis, who I don't know if he's still on, but he is the Apple representative. So perhaps he could fill us in. I don't want to venture to say. I know that they have their private compute cloud, but I don't know how they're going to handle queries out to a chatbot. But I agree. Apple has been very cautious about using AI precisely because of the privacy and security concerns. Diana?
Okay, I just want to say that I agree with much of what Sam and Lawrence had to say. And there's a lot more to be discussed about this, about the whole philosophical angle of AI. But I have a much simpler question right now. on something completely different. And I want to ask Larry and others who have tried out different AI programs, do you think that one of them is better than the others at handling images, image processing, image manipulation? I'm just curious about that because I've only been using Perplexity recently. I have used Chat GPI, but not for that. And I'm wondering if I should switch to a different one that would handle images better than Perplexity, which could not do something that I asked it to do.
What do you want to do?
Well, in this case, I was wondering if there's a program that can, an AI program that can improve an older photo.
Right.
One taken with a camera that just didn't have enough pixels to make a clear picture.
Right.
And Perplexity couldn't do it. It wouldn't admit it, but ultimately it could not do anything with the picture that was effective. And I'm wondering if there's another AI that is better at that and could do it.
You might try Nano Banana from Google and DALL-E from ChatGPT. I personally use Topaz AI. It can not only sharpen the image, but it can actually blow it up too, make it larger. So
Okay,
you
I
might have
will.
if you want to send me a sample, I can try it and send it back to you, let you know how it works out.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. So you think the Google Topaz, and what was the first one you mentioned?
The Nano Banana, which is Google's,
Never
and
heard of
then
that one.
DALL-E. Yeah, DALL-E is from ChatGPT, but I don't know if they do what you want to do. So I know that Topaz AI will do it for you.
Okay, thank you.
So, all right.
Let's go to Ferrers and then to Bonnie.
Two related questions. First, do you have any idea how long before this generation of a wiki will be done using an LLM locally hosted on your machine? And do you see things like an Obsidian wiki or maybe Notebook LM replacing the Devonthink that you have in your dock?
Well, I take another approach. What I do is I use MCP servers. So I might as well tell you how I use my blog. And if we have time, we'll get back to the demo. So I think of Claude as my sidekick. It's a very, very smart sidekick. And what do I do? Well, I ask questions of topics of interest instead of just a web search. And it's very good at giving me a lot of information. Um, Claude has built-in connectors, like you can connect to your Gmail, the calendar, Notion, etc. I can show you the various connectors that it has. But you can also connect Mac apps using what's called the sorry about that, model context protocol. So I asked Claude, what what are they? And it will look around for me. And it found one for Devon Think. It found another one for OmniFocus. Uh, I do have Google Mail and Calendar. And so I can connect them up. So the idea is that these programs are good at what they do. And think of Claude as a way, a front end, that you can manipulate what's in these various programs and ask questions of it. So you can create like a dashboard where you have all of your Google Mail, your Google Calendar, your Devon Think, whatever is coming up, your OmniFocus, which I use for tasks. So I don't, so I try to not give away the beauty of these programs that I have in my my dock. And another one that another app that just came up is Lightroom. So if you're a photographer, you can have it do things, have Claude do things for you with photographs from your Lightroom. So that's my short answer. I think the approach, if you want, this is what's happened to me, is that I look for an MCP server. If the app does not have an MCP server built in, or on GitHub that someone has created an MCP server for that particular program, I don't use it anymore. So I'm getting rid of programs like Agenda and others that don't have MCP servers. And what they do is it's just a wrapper. It's a wrapper into the program, and it goes into the API and says, okay, application program interface, and said, what are the functions that you'll show me that I can use from Claude? And that's what it does. So that's my my answer to that. And finally, I use Claude to give me advice on my Substack blog posts. What I'll do is I will drag, I'll cut and paste, say my blog posts or draft into Claude, and Claude will come back and tell me what it thinks. Now, let me see if I can show that to you because it's really interesting.
Bonnie, we'll get to your question in just a minute.
So here is so I did a post on Orca Point in Alaska as part of our cruise. So this is my first draft. Said, here's my review of the draft. Overall, it's warm, inviting peace, the camaraderie and feast come through. The main issues are a handful of small errors, so it corrects my spelling. All right. And several guests made their way, should be several guests. Factual point to verify. You describe the Allen family as native to Alaska. If you mean Alaska native, the Allens, okay, are they Tlingit, founded by Bob and Betty Allen of Sitka? That's a clearer paraphrasing of an Alaska native Tlingit family. So it's telling me factually that I could improve my facts about this family. And phrasing, on the sixth day we got on dry land at Orca Point Lodge. Got on dry land is awkward. Why not say on day 6 we finally set foot on dry land at Orca Point Lodge? So it goes through, and sometimes it'll draft whole paragraphs for you, and then you're in trouble because you're not writing it yourself. So what I do here is I continually update. So here's another version that I gave it. It says much improved. The opening grounds the reader in place. Factual claim about the Allens is now specific. So it's a way for me to check my grammar and facts on a blog post. Okay, and so I use it that way. Then I give it to my son, who does the final edits on it. And then I give it to my partner, who reviews it before I post it. So that's the way I work with it.
Thanks,
Bonnie
Larry.
Nelson.
Yeah, go ahead, Bonnie.
Oh, thank you. My concern is with the safety of air travel. From what I've read from the, and I did use AI to get some of this. The meeting on Wednesday with the head of FAA, they said that originally they had said they needed more than 14,000 certified air traffic controllers, and now they've cut that number by 2,000. And AI told me a couple of different things, but they said that they were using modern scheduling tools and updated airspace protocols to safely operate with 2,000 people less. Needless to say, the union considers it an ongoing staffing crisis. So are they using AI? Is that what they mean by modern protocols and things?
Well, what I would do is dig down in each of those bullets and find out what the AI is talking about. So you just keep asking questions so that you find out more about how that's working out. And I would encourage you to do that. I didn't realize that they were cutting the number of air traffic controllers. It's always a problem. So I would be interested in finding out more about the modern scheduling and how they justify using fewer
They,
fewer air traffic controllers.
This is just Chat GPT, which comes, automatic. But it does give me the NPR article where I could see that. But it doesn't give me anything about, well, I guess overall, the rest of it comes from Federal Aviation Administration.
Bonnie?
Uh-huh.
Bonnie, one thing that I'd suggest that Larry has taught me is that these AI bots are very good at iteration. So when you query the AI, if there's something missing or something that you find unexplained, go back to it to ask that. And I think you'll be very heartened by the response. It's not unusual in my experience to have a long colloquy to get the nub of what I was trying to get at.
Okay, actually, even on that second reference, I did find at the end, system modernization includes use artificial intelligence and machine learning tools to better simulate and manage NAS performance before the day of departure. So they are using it somewhat. It would take me a while to, go over it all, but still, less AI they use for it just worries me. I mean, I guess it's possible that eventually it can do a better job than humans. They've certainly made mistakes when they cut people. But we had a pretty good record before we started messing with this, with all this.
But the thing is, Bonnie and Larry, you know this, that they've been using proximity awareness for a long time, which is machine learning before AI. So there's no reason that these techniques can't run alongside the actual traffic controllers.
Yeah, I would agree on that. I just if they are, they're not going to be looking at hiring as many, over 2,000 as many, because of more reliance on machines. That's the only thing.
Okay, thanks. Thanks,
you.
Thanks, Bonnie, for that question. Let's go back to Bruce Brown for his second of four. Go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, folks. And Larry, by the way, we're not trying to snow you. I'm sorry if,
I think you are.
there's
You
a
know,
lot of new stuff going on here, so nobody knows
I
everything.
I know you, Bruce. I know what you're doing. You're trying to snow me, even though you say you're not. I
No,
know
no,
it.
no. So
Can
here's
Bruce just ask a question, please?
here's my question. And so it may not be a hard and fast answer, but you can certainly give us your opinions, Larry, and whatever you've learned from experience and so on. So this is
Right.
the question: when should we not use AI under the present state of the art? I can think of a couple cases where it's probably a bad idea, namely in the world of medicine and the world of the law, but there are probably others as well. So what are your thoughts on that, Larry?
Um, I think it's just the opposite. I think in terms of medicine, I think AI will revolutionize healthcare for us. And
Eventually, but I'm talking right now. I think it's kind
yeah,
of
right now, right now, uh, Google solved the protein folding problem. It had been a 50-year-old problem, and it solved it. I mean, there's no need to try to fold a protein anymore because Google now provides it for free on their website. All right. So
that's amazing itself.
yeah, I would say that AI is going to affect every industry in some way. I'm kind of afraid, like Bonnie talked about fewer air traffic controllers. I don't know what that is going to mean in the long run. Um, Hopefully, the scheduling algorithms and whatnot will be so good that we don't have to worry. But obviously, when you're in this aluminum sardine can and you're taking off, you want to make sure you're safe. All right. So that's certainly a point uh, to make. But I think we don't know. I would look at each industry individually and say, how can AI help that industry? What can it do? Like radiology, AI can read um, X-rays better than radiologists can. Does that mean that we're going to replace radiologists? No. What it means is that they're going to work in conjunction with AI to read more uh, X-rays because we have Obamacare, which has opened up healthcare to more people. And so, in many cases where we have this doomsday attitude that AI is going to reduce the number of jobs in an industry, it may be just the opposite. We may create more jobs because people will be able to do things that AI can't do. And in that way, they'll begin working with AI to solve problems. So I don't see it as a zero-sum game. I see it more as AI is going to open up avenues that we haven't even thought of yet.
Thanks, Larry, and thanks,
Okay,
Bruce. Let's go on. Stop, Bruce. Stop, Bruce. Let's go on to Tom Hurley.
All right.
Put your hand down, Bruce. You make me nervous. All right.
Go ahead, Tom.
Tom, you're muted. Now, you're muted again.
Sorry about that dumb move. Sam Knudsen disputed whether AI generally is smarter than human beings, and you've used really, really smart. Could you just clarify how you mean it's smarter? I mean, ultimately, countries have to decide whether to go to war. People are always going to make those decisions, blah, blah, blah. How do you mean that AI is smarter?
Let's say from your personal point of view, AI I'll admit that AI, Claude knows more than I do. And Claude is very kind to me in the fact that it is very patient with me, especially when I do my blog posts. Like once Claude said to me, look, I've mentioned this 3 times now, and you haven't incorporated it into your blog, which tells me that you're not going to do it, so I won't bring it up again. Now, that's a very intelligent way of saying, yes, I understand what you're saying, what you're doing. And you'll get these epiphanies from your AI over time. And in terms of facts, I can always use Claude as a fact checker, and it's pretty good. And I can ask it for the sources it used, and it will tell me. Claude also hallucinates. It told me that Father's Day was on a Tuesday, and I know better than that. So I corrected him, and he said, "Oh yeah, my bad," and corrected it. AI right now has maybe 80,000 neurons. I don't know the precise number of neurons that have been used to create, these neural networks for LLMs, but they're constantly growing. And the brain has 10 times as many neurons, but yet the LLMs are just as smart as we are. So there's obviously something that humans can do that the AI cannot do. And so I guess I would temper my statement that AI is smarter. I just said it's really, really smart. I didn't say it's smarter than us, but I would say it's really, really smart and we can work together on problems. I think that's the better approach to it.
Thank you.
Larry, let's go on with your demo, and Bruce will come back to you a bit later, okay? Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, Bruce, you'll just have to wait. So
It's okay.
let's look at Google's Gemini. I think it's interesting because Gemini is built into the Google ecosystem, if you will. It knows about Google Mail, Google Calendar, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to use Google Chrome, which is also a Google product, and I'm going to look for Gemini. It turns out it didn't have a So here it is, Google Gemini. It doesn't have a desktop app. So what's on your mind? And this is interesting now because you can search chats. It can do a daily brief for you, images and videos, and the library. So I haven't really checked out everything that's here, but there's some things in my library. So I'm going to ask it a new chat. What do you know about me? I hope I'm not leaking too much information. And I think it's good for you to talk to your chatbots and just see what it knows about you. Oh, it's doing all kinds of stuff. Defining the scope, clarifying relationships. When I did it previously, it didn't do that. So here's the summary of key information I have regarding your background, preferences, and interests. So personal background, your name is Larry Kirschford, you're 84 years old, Professor Emeritus of Computer Science at George Mason. Your partner is Ronnie Beth Sowers, and you have a son named Ben. You live in Cold Spring, New York, and also manage a residence in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Photography, you are an active photographer utilizing cameras like the Hasselblad and the Leica. You use AI-driven tools like Topaz and DxO for editing and write about your work on your Substack, Kirschberg Photography. Technology and AI. You have a strong interest in artificial intelligence, following newsletters like Turing Post and Marcus on AI. You utilize tools like Claude and Notebook LM and recently acquired an NVIDIA DGX Spark for local AI research. Vehicles, you drive a Tesla Model X and have researched other luxury electric vehicles such as the Cadillac Escalade. That's a monster of a truck.
I'll bet.
Anyway, diet. You frequently purchase items like Norwegian salmon, French-style yogurt, beef knockwurst, fresh fruits, and plant-based dairy alternatives. Travel and apparel. You prefer structured small ship cruises focused on nature and cultural immersion, and favor functional outdoor apparel from brands like Patagonia and Smart Wool. Is there anything you'd like me to update or remove? And you then have a choice. You can say update, get rid of, like I can say, get rid of the Escalade. Huh? I'm sorry. I won't ask it again on my preferences. So you can do images. I don't know what's involved here. You can try it. So this is Brad, so create an image of me with an apple pie mug. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like, but here we go.
So, Larry, we usually send speakers an apple pie mug. Would you like one?
I have one.
Would you like another one?
That's incredible. It brought my cameras in and my Hasselblad. Now this is complete, and it even shows Kirschberg photography. Now, how cool is that? Now that's not the apple pie mug, but it used, I guess it created it, right? So there I am holding it with 2 fingers. This is good. And I don't have 6 fingers. That's pretty good. Because usually one way to spot an AI is that it gives too many fingers on the hand. All right. So this
it's gotten better with the hands, Larry.
Yeah, it's gotten better. That's amazing. I'm impressed.
So, is there any way you can iterate to point it to an actual pie mug?
Let me bring my pie mug out. Let's see if I can use it. Let me see if I can take a picture of it.
I guess we don't have a picture of a pie mug on the pie website.
Right. So I'm going to take a picture here and send it. So I'm going to send it by email or by messages. So I'm going to say substitute the pie mug in the image with this one that I just have below. Let's see if it'll do it. This is virgin territory for me. I haven't, this is a live demo, and I hate doing live demos because they never work. So let's see what
Well,
it does.
you've taught us to always underpromise with live demos, Larry.
Right, right. And it even spelled pie wrong. But let's see what happens. It's creating my image.
Do you know when I searched for Washington apple pie mug,
It didn't do it.
uh, let me see if I can find the link.
Yeah, it's interesting because the wood in back of me is white, and yet it made it wooden here, and it put a bookshelf here, which I don't have right there, and gave me a stand. So a lot of this is made up, but it's quite interesting how it did it. Anyway, so that's the images.
Let me
It
jump
can
in.
do-
Larry,
Yeah.
it just looks like you didn't hit return or whatever to actually submit it. So, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay, just sorry for jumping in.
Oh, thank you. I thought I had, yeah, the thing is that you have to submit your, okay, clarifying user requirements. Okay, let me bring it in here. Now, they have something called generative AI for photographs, and I'm of a mixed mind about using generative AI because you can create images that look very real. And look, witness the one we created for me. But I liked it. Okay, here's the image. There you go. On the fly.
Larry,
Yeah. Yes.
see if you can point Claude to the link that I just put in the chat that has a picture of the pie mug.
Well, we already have it right here.
Yeah, but I want to see if you can get Claude to get it from a website rather than you having to upload it.
Well, I'll let you do it. All right.
I will do that.
That's the beauty of AI. You can do it yourself.
Mhm.
I noticed that now they have notebooks here on the side, but I like their previous notebook version, in which I'm going to do right now.
Is this the Notebook LM you're talking about?
Yeah. So here is Notebook LM, and I have various notebooks. There are some that are featured that you can just look at yourself, like the World Ahead 2026. And I'm not going to demo any of these right now, but I wanted to show my notebooks. And I have these notebooks here. And here's the WAP demo notebook for today. And so what I did, let me give you an idea of what's going on in this notebook. This is the general chat area. This here is the sources area, and you can add files. You can have the web do a search, or you can drop files from your own drive or from websites like YouTube. And YouTube creates a transcript of what's being said. So it'll read that transcript into your notebook, and you can upload files and you can copy text. And so what I did is I did a deep research. You can do fast research or deep research. And I did a deep research report on the evolution of Apple Inc. And it goes through all the 50, it went through, I think there are 59 sources here. I also had Claude generate a report on the evolution of Apple over the last 50 years. And personally, I like what Claude came up with better than what Notebook LM came up with. Because Notebook LM, for some reason, focused more on the Apple's green energy effort. And I thought that was interesting. But here, let me show you. You can create an audio overview, which I have done already, a slide deck, a video overview, a mind map. You can generate reports. You can generate flashcards, which I haven't done. And I generated an infographic. And what's interesting, you can also generate a data table. So let's see. So here's the mind map. So Apple incorporated strategic analysis, SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. History and transition, early eras, next step, processor transitions. Environmental strategy, product and market evolution. All right. So if you go here, you'll say, discuss what sources about digital music revolution in the larger context of product and market evolution. So it's going through the sources that you have here and giving you the text. So that's an interesting way to link various things. Once it's done, then you can add that. Here it is. Digital music revolution began in the 1990s with the development of MP3 encoding. So you have the, so I can save it as a note, or I can say, how does Apple use LiDAR to measure forest carbon stocks? Now, that is something that I wouldn't think about asking, but it came up here. So I can save this as a note, and there it is. And I'll ask, how does Apple use LiDAR? LiDAR is a way to use lasers to measure the distance. And so it's processing this, which is really interesting. So Apple uses LiDAR scanner on the iPhone to measure the diameter of trees, which serves as an indicator for calculating forest carbon stocks. And this is the source here, view source. And there it is. All right. So that's, I think, very interesting. Now, this is 60 sources. We did that one. Here's a climate roadmap. Now, this was generated automatically from the sources. So Apple's 2030 climate roadmap, the carbon removal strategy. Can you all see that?
Yes,
So
thanks, Larry.
it generated this beautiful infographic just from the texts. And you can share the notebook. Like I could share it with any one of you, and then you could add to it whatever you like to do. So here we have, let's see. Can I bring it? So this is a slideshow it created automatically. So when I click my mouse, it goes to the next slide. This is interesting. Tim Berners-Lee uses the next cube at CERN to create the first web server and browser. Developers use a platform to build foundational games like Doom and Quake. WebObjects pioneers dynamic generation. The pivot. Apple acquires Next in 1997 for $427 million, using Next Step to build the foundation of Mac OS and iOS. Did you know that? Bruce
Yes,
says yes.
yes, I knew that.
Right. And so it's interesting that you can generate slides. What else can you do? This one is very good. So it generates an overview, usually with two people. So you can't hear this. Let me see how I could. Let me see if I will put my earbuds away.
Unrelated topics. This random reading material you've given us.
It definitely seems that way.
But our mission today is to take your sources and connect those seemingly random dots, because together they actually tell one cohesive story about the evolution of impact.
I love that.
Yeah, we're going to take you on a journey from this heavy, brilliant magnesium.
So it has a 23-minute audio podcast for you based on your sources. So I think in terms of being able to research, this is great. And then when I take a source and I put it into my wiki, it actually knows that it came from Notebook LM. And it classifies it as a Notebook LM source. So you could start a wiki on your personal projects like photography, whatever it happens to be. And I will investigate if we can share the Obsidian wiki in a way that keeps it dynamic so that people can contribute to it. I think you can do that with a pro plan in Obsidian. I'll have to look into that. All right.
Sam had in the chat complimenting this Notebook LM, Larry. And I wonder, does anybody remember the Wisconsin grad student who spoke to our group last year, who did a demo in Notebook LM of the app that she made to convert her voluminous class notes to make it easier for her to study from?
Yeah, that is a great way of, you just put in your sources. You can drag files. So you could drag your class notes into the notebook. So here you could drag files like PDFs, images, docs, audio, and it will use those as your private sources. So I would encourage you. I use it. I created quite a few. Let me show you some of my. How do I? So I have a photographer notebook, agentic AI notebook, college admissions guide, hallucinating bots. So I have 10 sources here. AI and energy. Obviously, energy is a precious commodity. And if you've watched your bills lately, you've seen them go up. You just have to drive along the corridor of, Loudoun County to see all of the data centers that are there. Loudoun County is kind of the capital for the data centers. And so you can do chronic perspectives on modern perspective on chronic and neoplastic pain management. And so I had to do deep research, and it added quite a few things. So you can do it on whatever you like, right? Consciousness and a comprehensive study. So whatever you happen to want to do, you can do with Notebook LM. Is there something you'd like me to do? I can create a new notebook and give it a try. Or add
Thanks,
some sources here.
Thanks, Larry.
All right, let me add, how about adding websites like web.org
TheApplePie.org.
and org, the apple pie. It's one word, right?
It's just TheApplePie.org is the website.
Any other sites? Like maybe, okay, let's work with these two. So I can ask me, tell me about the scholarship program. Sponsored by Apple Pie.
While you're doing that, Larry, Bruce, if you have another short question, we have time for that.
Okay, well, the question is very short. I'm not sure about the answer, but
Just the question, Bruce.
and again, Larry, I'm not here to try to stump you or anything. But please give us your thoughts, opinions, if you can. What about AI and jobs and job security? Now, I would say most of us here in the club are probably retired and don't have to worry too much about it. But there are plenty of younger people who are, and we've seen in the news lately, people getting booed who gave presentations at graduation ceremonies at various colleges.
Bruce, please quickly. We're out of time,
So
guy.
I was just wondering how you felt about that.
I think that a lot of the entry-level jobs, I mean, I would encourage you to hear the 60 Minutes YouTube with Dario Amodei, who is the CEO of Anthropic. So I listened to that last night, and he says that a lot of the entry-level jobs will be replaced by AI. And I think that's why you heard so many speakers being booed, because they don't want to hear that on their graduation day. But they're worried about it. I think anybody who has a job that is repetitious may lose it, right? So I know you have children who are in the workforce. So many of you have children in the workforce, and I would encourage them to learn as much as they can about how AI can complement their work and begin using it so that they can be more productive at what they do. And they made it by showing that effectively using AI, they may actually get promoted into other kinds of job titles.
Larry, that's exactly the point that Anika Hallquist made, the Wisconsin graduate student, when she spoke with us. Exactly that point. It looks like Cliff Bailey has a question. We're really, our meeting is out of time, Larry. This has just been fabulous. Thanks so much for all of it.
I would appreciate comment on copyright issues. I think that's not been mentioned this time.
That was Cliff's question, Larry.
Okay. Copyright issues. Anthropic, I just got a note that Anthropic is willing to pay $2.3 billion to people whose copyright has been violated. I personally, I'm sure my papers have been put in there, but I'm not going to ask Anthropic for money. But it is an issue. It is an issue. I think New York Times has sued OpenAI. They've sued Anthropic because they're violating copyright left and right. So it's a real issue, real problem.
And Roy just had a good thing in the chat, which is if we want to continue this discussion, the best way is to come to the next AI SIG meeting.
That's a good idea. I plan to be there.
Next Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Is it next Tuesday, 10 a.m.? Oh, good. I'll put it on my calendar. And you'll send out the link, the Zoom link.
Yes, the link will be sent out.
Thank you.
Larry, I can't thank you enough. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead, please.
I just want to say if Bruce has one last question, I'll take it.
Yes, and it's pretty quick, and you probably have some opinion on this too. There's been a lot in the media lately about AI slop, SLOP. I wonder if you have any thoughts on that, or some people may not even know what that means. I'm not sure I know what it means either completely.
Well, you could ask Claude what AI slop is, and it'll tell you. But the internet is full of misinformation, bad information, and just plain bad writing. And what happens is that you can usually recognize AI slop. Like I never watch a YouTube video that has this droned voice, a male voice or female voice that you know is AI generated. I want my YouTube at least to convey a certain amount of information that real people have constructed. So you're going to get a lot of AI slop, and you can see it. And as soon as I see it, I recognize it. I leave it. So, you just have to be aware that it's out there. I do have a final slide, which I'd like to present.
Thank you, Larry.
And that is, you may have strong opinions on AI, express them, which I think we've done. This version of AI is here to stay, so find ways that can help you. The frontier AI models are getting smarter exponentially. That means every 100 days, they're getting smarter and smarter. And in a couple of years, the AI will write its own code, so it'll get better without our interacting with it. That's scary. I suggest adopting one or more of the AI models, Claude, Gemini, or ChatGPT, and finding out what they can do for you. I find AI has enhanced my productivity considerably. Now, I'm retired, so why worry about it? But we're constantly learning. Think of this as a way to learn more about your reality, about what interests you through a partnership with AI. So don't think of it as something that you should be afraid of or keep a hands-off view, but just